WDW Fan Zone show. And before we begin the show, as we normally would, I do want to mention something. Um, I consider everybody who does the show family. We're a close knit group, and one of our family members, Lottie, and her husband Kyle, are going something that no one should ever have to go through. We just want to let them know that we're praying for you. You have our heartfelt condolences, and anything you need from us, we are here for you. And on that note, I want to introduce everybody. I'm Stuart, joined by John, Kurt, and Jess. And we're going to get into the show right now. Jess, a lot of news breaking in the last couple of days. We did a show on Monday because we couldn't record last Thursday because something went wrong. um, more news tonight, which is
Yeah, we got a
great.
couple
So,
good things coming up.
yeah, that's good. So, why don't you let our viewers and listeners know what's new since Monday?
All right. Hey there, folks. Here's the news for the week. As we have mentioned before, starting January 9th, remember park hopping resumes for all day. You can go into a park and go to another park right away. I don't know why you would do that, but if you're an annual pass holder and you can't get a reservation to Epcot, you can go into Hollywood Studios and then go over to Epcot if that's your fancy. Good for you there. Anyway, reservations will be changing too. If you have a date based ticket, you do not need to make a reservation at any of the parks. But if you are an annual pass holder, you will still have to make reservations. Starting on January 11th, there will be good to go days, most likely non busy days that do not count against your annual or your allowed pass number. So, like, I'm a Pixie Desk pass holder and I could only have 3 reservations at a time. But on these good to go days, that will not count against that number. Virtual queues for Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy are supposed to work for all, including good to go days for annual pass holders without a reservation. This is kind of up in the air. We're not really sure how that's going to work, but I guess we will see when that comes. You can only ask to access one virtual queue a day. You can only have one at a time, too. All right, so The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, has been announced to open in fall of 2024 in Disney's Hollywood Studios, replacing Voyage of the Little Mermaid. Construction has already begun, so we're excited to see this show come alive. And finally for the parks news, Rock and Roller Coaster will be closing for a lengthy refurbishment starting January 8th. It is rumored to be open in the summer, so we have many months without that roller coaster. All right, in other news, from June 21st through the 30th, 2024, ESPN Wide World of Sports is hosting the DoD Warrior Games, adaptive sports competition celebrating the resilience, tenacity, and dedication of the wounded, sick, and injured U.S. military members and active service veterans. All right, so here are the park hours. Friday, December 22nd, which is tomorrow, that the Magic Kingdom is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a Christmas party from 7 to 12. Saturday from 9 to 11. I just want to double check because I thought the Christmas parties were supposed to end. So give me just a second here. I'm pretty sure. Okay, yes. So on Sunday, the 24th, Magic Kingdom is open from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. And that is also Monday, Christmas, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. Epcot is 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. every day. Hollywood Studios, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and from Sunday to Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Disney's Animal Kingdom from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday, Christmas, and then Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Typhoon Lagoon is currently closed. Blizzard Beach every day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And beware that Blizzard Beach will close on days with inclement weather and cold weather. So please check your My Disney experience for times that may change. I've also noticed that Magic Kingdom park hours have changed, especially for like around New Year's and stuff. So like definitely check these park hours before you go anywhere and before you plan your trip, because there are definitely changes that happen. They extend the hours if there's more people, or they will make them close earlier if there's not enough people. But there will not be that problem of not enough people in the parks the next couple weeks. Let me continue with the park hours. Boardwalk, 6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Disney Springs, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., except on Fridays and Saturdays where it closes at 11:30 p.m. And the weather. The highs in the mid 70s and lows in the mid 60s through Tuesday. And then a cold front will come through with some rain and thunderstorms, bringing cooler temps with the mid 60s for the highs and mid 50s for the lows. Be prepared for weather changes. And that is all I have for today.
Great. Thank you, Jess. I know you have to run, but before you do, I just want to mention something. And if you want to go, you can.
No, go ahead.
But we all know Hollywood Studios has a little bit of difficulty with lines because there aren't that many attractions there. Now you've got another one going down for an extended period of time.
Yes.
So the question becomes, and if anybody wants to answer it, that's fine. If you want to leave it up in the air and let our listeners and viewers answer it for us and let us know what they think. What do they think the park is going to be like during certain times of the year without Rock and Roller Coaster and other rides that may go down periodically?
Yeah. Well, and I know if it really is going to open in the summer again, the really only time
Mhm.
frame that would be busy in that time is Easter and the
Yep.
spring break time. So maybe they're taking that time to really work on it, hopefully, and
Yeah.
fix what's wrong with it. So hopefully they don't have to do this long
Mhm.
refurbishment again.
Yeah. Yeah. There must be something serious enough with the attraction that
Hmm.
they're taking the time to get it properly fixed.
Yes, and hopefully that
We
does
know,
happen.
yeah, I think it was one of the, if I'm not mistaken, last year, and I don't know how it was doing this year, to be honest with you. But last year, it was the attraction that had the most downtime of all the attractions at Walt Disney
Mm.
World.
Wow.
So that could have something to do with it.
Hmm.
Well, this is a reminder why it's so difficult to do any upgrades to Indiana
Mhm.
Jones Stunt Spectacular
Yep.
because you have an attraction like Rock and Roller Coaster go down. You need to have some place to try to take some of that
People
capacity.
eater. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Generally
Definitely.
what Disney likes to do is open up a new attraction before they take down an
Yeah,
older attraction for an
yeah.
extended period of time. Unfortunately, I can't do that here.
Well, I mean, the Yeti. Look how long the Yeti has
Oh
not
my
been
God.
functioning, but they
Yeah.
they can't close the thing. That's
No, they can't. They can't.
Hmm.
All right, Jess, thank you. Hope you have a
All right.
great weekend.
Yeah.
All
Thank you.
right.
Merry Christmas to all who
Merry
celebrate,
Christmas, Jess.
and I'll see you real soon.
Yeah, thanks. Happy holidays, Jess.
Happy holiday.
yeah.
All right. And then there were three.
Oh my. And
So, yes, we are the
the
three
scariest of the
stooges.
three.
Yeah, we're the three stooges of the WDW show.
Wise guy.
So, John, you just came back from an Adventures by Disney riverboat
It
cruise.
wasn't Adventures by Disney. It was actually Nat
Oh,
Geo.
oh, wow.
So it was National Geographic, and it was in conjunction with Alma Waterways, which is a river cruise, a well-known river cruise company in Europe. It was on the Danube River. We sailed from Budapest, Hungary, through Bratislava, Slovakia, and then through Vienna and Salzburg in Austria to Passau in Germany, and eventually ended up we were supposed to go and get off the ship at Wielshofen in Germany, but they had some flooding going on. We didn't quite get as far up the river, and ultimately took a transfer up to Munich before we came home. But we got to see a lot of Christmas markets, beautiful cities there. They were all. I was pleasantly amazed at how well all of these towns that we visited were decorated for Christmas. All of their, historic areas had lights and garland and trees, and they have these huge Christmas markets, which was one of the big draws of the trip itself, and where they're selling gingerbread and glue wine, which is a kind of a hot mulled wine mixture, really good. Lots and lots of sausages and lots of gifts as well. So a lot of fun stuff there. The Nat Geo part of it was there was a photographer from National Geographic, and we had a number of sessions with her when we were on the ship. So you'd be in a city and you'd get to tour it. There would be walking tours, guided tours of different cities, and then you'd get on the ship and you'd move up the river and you'd go somewhere else. But while we were on the ship, there were two National Geographic guides, and one of them gave us a number of talks about photography, some things to pay attention to in photography, some tips and hints. Another one about how to use your iPhone to get the most use out of the features of the camera for your iPhone, and some additional sessions on photography. And then another National Geographic guide who talked to us a lot about architecture and history and the nature of things going on in Europe, in a lot of the cities we got to see. So kind of pull things together. So it was a nice combination. We had a lot of Disney friends on the ship. So the ship holds 150 people. It's a very different kind of ship from doing a Disney cruise line. Smaller ship, more intimate, a little more relaxed. But the cabins are a little bit smaller than they are on the Disney cruise ships. But we went with a lot of Disney friends. There's 150 people can fit on the ship. There were 111, I think, on the ship. And I think our group had 54. So we had roughly half of the ship.
That's pretty cool.
Didn't get to do anything related to Disney itself, but it was good to have friends that we've had on other Disney cruises and other kinds of Disney adventures.
Oh, nice. Sounds like you had a lot of fun.
We got to see a lot. Very different from ocean cruising. It did make me kind of yearn to do some ocean cruising then too, and get to see the Disney ships. But got to see.
Would you do a river cruise again?
I would. It would have to be the right itinerary, I think. So this one, we got to see a lot of cities. We've been to Vienna before. It's a beautiful place. Had been really looking forward to seeing Salzburg. So glad we got to see that. Got to see a lot of beautiful European older cities and historical architecture, and hear about history, which are things that I like to do. So if it was the right itinerary, the right stops, and the right time of year, and again, if we got to do it with friends, I think that made a big difference that we got to do it together as a group. We did some other fun things. We decorated trees on the ship. We made gingerbread. We decorated gingerbread as a group, and did some other fun things like that. Not as many activities as there are on a Disney cruise, but we still got to do some fun things. There's entertainment on board.
It's funny. So you mentioned it's not as many activities on Disney cruise. I was talking on the last show about how there's so much more to do on a Royal Caribbean cruise than Disney. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I need to listen to the show from Monday. I've been looking forward to it.
Let me know how quickly you fall asleep when you listen to it.
Oh, God.
No, I'm kidding. How was the food? I know, I don't want you to compare it to the Disney cruise ship, because that's, there's no comparison.
The food was very well prepared. It was the presentation that they had for all of the meals was fabulous. I was amazed at how much time and effort they put to making things very presentable, very comfortable dining room, and very good experience. It was different, but there weren't a ton of choices. So you might get two choices for an appetizer, two choices for a soup, two or three choices for an entree, and maybe two choices for a dessert. So not as many options as you might get on other cruises,
So
but
no
the
chocolate
food was top.
souffle.
Food was top notch.
No chocolate souffle.
No, no, there was no chocolate
Chocolate.
souffle. No, no, well,
Lunch.
unless I missed it, I don't remember seeing it.
Now, did you get to, or was the food related to the cuisine of the country or town you were visiting?
Well, with river cruises, since they're constrained, well, partly because they're constrained for size, every time they stop, they bring on fresh food.
Oh, that's
So
good.
all of the food was fresh. So some of the menus were definitely influenced. I think the last lunch we had on there was pork belly, pork knuckle, pork sausage. It it was all
Pork pie.
bratwurst. It was all things from the German area that we were in, but yeah, it's all fresh food brought in from the ports, and I call them ports, and yet we think of the ocean ports, but these are river, so it's really just a docking. So
Mhm.
you pull right into the towns, into the cities themselves, and you're docked right downtown. You walk off, and there you are. So it's a very different experience, very convenient. Now, as I said, we did run in towards the end of the trip where there was some flooding and we couldn't pull into the town we wanted to. So they made some changes on the fly, and we pulled into a town further downriver, and they had buses to take us up to the town where we were going.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they fulfilled all the things we needed to see, but they had to adapt. But I do like how you get to see a number of cities and you get to walk right into them. If it wasn't so cold, we could have taken bikes and we could have taken bike tours of the cities. But with it being this time of year, we didn't do that. We did miss out on most of the snow. It happened a week before we were there. Got a little bit of light snow in Budapest before we left, but we did dodge the rain. We were expecting rain on a number of days, and we only got one or two quick sprinkles when we were in Salzburg. So it held off. It was warm. It was in the low 40s, so it wouldn't have snowed, but it was still chilly enough. You're outside and you're out all day. Imagine like when you're in
Yeah.
Florida, and if it's January and it's in the 40s, that feels really cold when you're
Well,
walking around the
to
park.
native Floridians, not to me. Yeah, we've had cooler temperatures here for the last few days.
Well,
There was one day last week. It was for Florida. It was really cold for someone who's from the Northeast. It was not cold at all. It was a welcome change. But yeah, no, I understand. And
Wait, what's your really cold? Because we're having a heat wave right now at 43.
yeah,
So is your really cold?
we've been in the
Did you guys say
60s here.
36?
Yeah, we've
Oh,
been in the
60s,
60s. Well, anyway, speaking of Florida, it's hard to. One thing people miss living in Florida that are from the Northeast or from a colder state like Illinois or somewhere in the Midwest, is the weather that goes along with the feeling of the holiday season and Christmas and all that. And when we get to Disney World, they do some things that are good and bad. Well, not bad. They do all good things for the holiday season. But there are some things that you like about how the parks are that during that season, and some things you don't like. And we're going to discuss that today. And I think the biggest one, and I think we're all going to agree on this, are the crowds in the parks during the holiday season. Um, there are a couple of days out of the year, not many, or a few days out of the year, and it's usually New Year's and New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve day where the parks reach capacity and you can't get in, or you get in and you can't do anything because It's like being on a New York City subway in rush hour, or where you can't move anywhere. So that's one of the dislikes about the holiday season. But what are some of the things that we love about the holiday season at Walt Disney World?
The decorations. The decorations are
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yep.
especially all the food decorations.
Yeah.
The food decoration.
Well,
they
think of it. How many gingerbread houses are
Well,
there?
yeah,
Oh,
okay,
God, yeah.
okay,
Chocolate carousels and
yeah, okay.
And every
that's
year,
what I mean
more
by
and more of the resorts are taking part in the decorations. So it's not just the Grand Floridian anymore.
right.
Yeah,
And I think that's wonderful.
I had the visiting the resorts as one of the things that I like about visiting during the holidays. So going to each of the resorts to see how they are decorated, seeing their trees or seeing the gingerbread, like you say at Grand Floridian,
Mhm.
the boardwalk has some gingerbread as well. The carousel, like you say, over at
Mhm.
the Yacht and Beach, all the different resorts and the different ways they're decorated.
Yep.
Anytime we go during the holiday time, we go out of our way to visit the resorts.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to do this before Christmas Day, but I'm hoping one day next week to just go resort hopping. I missed it last year because I had come down with a little bug when my neighbors were going to visit the resort. So hopefully I'll get to do it this year. But I've seen quite a few already, just having dinner at a couple of different resorts. But yeah, I mean that's if you've got the time. I know a lot of people come to the parks and it's run, run, run. But if you've got the time, take a couple hours out of your day, and you don't have to visit all the resorts, but the monorail line. At least visit the resorts on the monorail line and see how wonderful the Christmas decorations are there. Something else Disney does every year is they come out with holiday treats and snacks
Mm, that
that
was
are
high on my list.
always, yeah, that's always outrageous and great and wonderful and
Well, and they have a huge number of
mhm,
holiday treats. They have
yep,
for every park, and then for a lot of the resorts have
yep,
their own unique ones. I love looking at the list of all of them and trying to get to as many as I can.
yeah. Yeah, what are some of the other things that you like? I know one Kurt must love.
Well, if you're talking about all the special things you can buy, yes.
No, I wasn't talking about that. There's a
There's so many individual things that you can only buy during that time of year
yes,
that I
there
really
are.
like. So,
I was
not
talking
sure
about
what you were
some.
thinking of.
No, I was thinking of something with something that's decorated for the holidays that you find in Epcot, not far from a couple of the pavilions. It's a miniature thing, goes around a track.
Oh, the train. They do decorate the train. Yes, I do miss that. It's been several years since I've seen that. I wasn't sure if they still did it.
Yeah, they do.
I do miss the Christmas version of the Country Bear Jamboree.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
Yeah, yeah. Um, the Jingle Cruise, which is
The Jungle Jingle Cruise is a great show.
Yep, that's always great and fun to see during the holiday season. It just adds a little twist to the attraction with their wonderful holiday season overlay.
Living with the
Mhm.
Land, I like their
Hmm.
overlay too,
Yes.
especially if you
Yep.
take the boat tour when it's dark outside and the lights are more pronounced.
Yeah, I wish they would do something with the Haunted Mansion, like a Nightmare
Uh,
Before Christmas would be wonderful. And I know a lot of Disney fans have mentioned that over the years. But
yeah,
that would mean the Haunted Mansion would have to go down for a
yeah,
prolonged period of time to do
yeah.
that.
That's the trade-off of having
Mhm,
the Walt Disney World Resort be your home resort as
mhm.
compared to Disneyland. Yeah,
Yep, yep, absolutely.
but it's a reason to go over to Disneyland.
Yeah. Anything else you guys have on your list or
Of
lists?
good things,
Good things, yeah.
we're still on the good things.
Still on good things.
It's cool that they still, as far as I know, still still make it snow on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
For people who've never seen that before. Just again, it's just the decorations make it beautiful.
Oh yeah, decorations. They have a holiday parade. Well, there's also the after hours special ticketed event that people do have to pay extra for. I forgot the
Very
name. They
merry.
changed the name.
Very merry Christmas party.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's always a good thing to do if you can. The parade is wonderful to see.
They
They
don't do
have
the icicles on the castle anymore.
Castle anymore.
no,
Yeah,
they do not. You know,
unfortunately.
I know a lot of people miss it. I'm one who doesn't. Um, I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's just it, after like a minute of seeing it, it's like, okay, I've seen it. All right, fine. But I know I know a lot. I'm in the minority on this. I know most people love that.
I thought
So,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it's unique. You don't ever get to see the castle like that during the rest of the year. And so when they had that at the holiday time, it
Mhm.
was a unique, and it fits so well.
yeah, I'll give you that. It did fit well. Um, but I would like to see them put the icicles up there and make them disappear and do something else with the castle during the holiday season. What I don't know, but that's just me.
You know, turn it into the North Mountain from Arendelle. No, I'm just kidding. Elsa's Palace.
Well, you know what
Mhm.
they could because of the projections, they could actually go from icicles to different Christmas light decorations, you know, and keep changing it in a loop.
Well, that's kind of what they do with the Tower of Terror.
Yep. Oh, the Tower of Terror is wonderful to see the holiday season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the one thing we didn't talk about, and that goes along with that, is the music.
Hmm.
I love
Yes.
the holiday music and the
Yeah.
way they use it in the different parks. So Magic Kingdom is one way, but then you go to Hollywood Studios and you get some of that classic Disney music, especially around Echo Lake, and they're more classic decorations there. It all fits well together.
Now, I know neither one of you guys have seen this yet, but they've opened up part of Epcot, and some of the walls have come down.
Mm.
Mhm.
Uh, and the where the statue of Walt is on the bench, that whole area there, they've got the light, and even on Spaceship Earth, they've got the lights changing, and right now
Right.
it's Christmas colors. So you see the
Mhm.
reds, the greens, the peppermint candy Spaceship Earth with the red and white. It's breathtaking. It
Mhm.
really is. They've done a wonderful job there with the lighting. Um, and I do want to mention that what is it? I forgot the name of the attraction with Moana. Um, for
Journey of
Walt Disney.
Water.
Yes, at night, as great it is as great as it is to go through during the day, it's so much better at night. It's like going through Pandora at night.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, wow. With the different lights and the water, it's great. Yeah. Um,
I'm not going to see it for a while, but I'm looking forward
yeah,
to it when I do.
yeah. Oh, you'll definitely enjoy it, either day or night. But you know, if you can see it at night, that's what I would tell people to go through it at night.
Mhm.
Now, Disney, you know, for many years concentrated, and they still do concentrate their decorations on the Magic Kingdom. But we're seeing more now in Epcot. We're seeing more in Hollywood Studios. Animal Kingdom,
Well, they've picked it up
you
in
They've
the
had
know,
Animal
'em.
Kingdom too.
yeah.
Yeah, they've had them there 10 years because we were down there 10
Mhm.
years ago and they had a lot of decorations down there.
Yeah. And you're seeing some improvements in all the other parks as well. When I say improvements, you're seeing more additions in terms of decorations for the holidays, and that's you know a wonderful thing because if you put people who if you put people in good cheer as they go through the parks, they're going to be in a happier place as they go through the parks, and the magic just becomes that much greater for them as they walk through the parks and go on their way to the attractions. So maybe they're a little more patient during this time of year when it comes to the long lines with all the people in the parks. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys can think of that we haven't discussed as far as good things during the holiday season? Santa Claus.
You have something, Kurt?
No, I knocked mine out.
Merchandise.
Yeah,
I said that.
yeah.
Did I miss that? I'm sorry.
That's the first thing I said was the merchandise.
I kind of cut Kurt off on that though a little bit.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah, the merchandise is definitely different during this time of year.
Well, again, they have a lot of it too.
Yeah, and if you go through the, going back to that, Pat, if you go through the countries, each country does something a little different for the holidays too, which is nice to see. So it's not just the resorts. Take time going through the countries and World Showcase.
Right.
I think Hollywood Studios, as wonderful as it is to see the decorations during the day, it's more illuminating at night to see the decorations there as well. But that's a park I would definitely go to at night during the holiday season to make sure, even if you're going there for no other reason, just to walk around and look at the decorations, you'll have a great time.
Agreed.
All right. Now I think we can get to the things that aren't so great. We mentioned the crowds. Anything else you guys can think of?
The cash grab price increase.
Yeah, that's right. It's because of the busy time of year. They know they can get away with charging guests more money for certain things, and they do.
Let me look.
But it's not just Disney; it's everybody.
Well, yeah. Let's see how much a park district costs today.
Yeah. What is it? It's about $144 on average during a regular season.
So a 1-day ticket for today is $159. A bit pricey.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, and I noticed this when I was in the parks the other day. We were in Magic Kingdom on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. It was Monday. Monday or Tuesday. One of those days. Tuesday, that's when I was, because it was the last day I could go before I'm blocked out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
What I noticed was on attractions, like even if it's a Small World attraction, if you had Genie Plus, they kept taking the people from Genie Plus, and then when there was a lull for the Lightning Lane, then they would let people go through on the regular line. So just be aware of that too. So if you're going to certain parks and there's certain attractions you want to do, just like Darlene would always say, pack your patience if you're not getting Genie Plus.
And by the way, I apologize. The $159 is only for Animal Kingdom. Magic Kingdom's not available. Epcot's $179. Disney Hollywood Studios $179.
All right. I don't think $159 is so bad this time of year for Animal Kingdom. I think it's a little pricey for the other parks, but people are paying it, so somebody doesn't think it's pricey. We didn't mention. What's that restaurant? There's a restaurant in Magic Kingdom that's open for the holiday season. Why can't I think of the name?
Is that the Tomorrowland Terrace?
No, I was thinking of another one.
What part of the park?
Near Adventureland. Near
Adventureland. Adventureland?
Oh God, why can't I think of the name?
Hold on.
Is it Adventure? No, I'm sorry, not Adventureland. Frontierland.
Frontierland. Oh, you're talking about the Diamond Horseshoe?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
That's exactly it. Okay, thank you. When you reach my age, you don't remember much.
Well, I'm not so far behind you, so you got me worried.
That's good to see open this time of year.
What?
I missed the show.
At the Diamond Horseshoe, yeah.
That's another thing. They do have, speaking of likes, they do have special shows at the castle too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, and we talked about the resorts, but we forgot to talk about the campgrounds and
Mhm.
how the people that stay there over the holidays go out and go crazy with all the
Yep,
holiday
they do.
decorations at the campsites.
There are 2 times a year they go crazy there. Halloween is one,
Right.
and Christmas is the other. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right.
And
You
that's a destination to go see.
I don't think they're letting people in now that are staying off property anymore to
You have
or
to know somebody that's there to go and
yeah,
visit them.
to get
Or
in, yeah,
be going to Hoop-de-Doo or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Correct.
But you can't drive around there anymore in your car. I
No.
mean,
Yeah, well, if you go to Hoop-de-Doo, you can walk from there
and make a
and
wrong turn.
you can see a lot of campsites nearby. We did that last year when we were down there.
Yeah. Maybe they'll bring that back eventually, but I'm sure it's for security reasons.
Well, they don't want it being inundated. People, it's kind of like that's one of the things we ran into when we were touring in Europe. There's certain towns over there that have become so Instagram famous that people are just flooding them to get to one place to take a selfie.
Oh God.
And then the towns are having to do things to try to curb it because they're overrunning the town
Mhm.
and without any benefit. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's you get some place that's popular and everybody tries to go there and they're not prepared for it. I'm sure the people who are staying in the campsites don't want to be overwhelmed by all these
Mhm.
onlookers.
Correct.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Disney Springs.
Oh
Forgot
yeah,
about that. The Christmas tree walk.
right. Did they have that this year?
Yes.
They brought
Yes,
it back.
they're taking it down on the 31st,
Hmm.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You'll be there after that.
Shortly after that.
Mhm. Yeah, but yeah, I think pricing and crowds are probably the only dislikes I can think of during the holiday season when it comes
Well,
to going to Disney World.
you talked about one earlier, and it's the weather. So the weather isn't.
Oh,
It makes you maybe feel a little more in the spirit, but you have a chance of it being colder. And if you want to walk around in shorts in Florida, sometimes in December you can't do that.
but I look at it as a positive, not a negative, and I'll tell you why.
Well, I think
Because
it's both. I agree that
yeah, it can be both, but I prefer to look at it as a positive, and that's just me. Because it's even for people who are coming from colder weather areas, it's still not as cold as where they probably are coming from. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you're not sweating to death through the parks either. That's also a positive.
right.
So it makes it more comfortable to spend the day in the parks
Yeah.
as long as you dress
It,
properly.
it, you never know. It's there's some days. Now it was January when I've been there in January. I've been in the Magic Kingdom when it was 28 degrees, and that's way too
Mhm.
cold. But you know, it can be anywhere from 40 to 80
Mhm.
in the Magic Kingdom in December.
Well, I was there on Tuesday, and it was the upper 50s that day.
Hmm.
And you know what? I had a jacket, had jeans on that day. One of the very few days I've gone to the parks where I'm wearing a jacket during
Hmm.
the day.
Yeah,
And you know what? It got a little warm as the afternoon approached, but I was okay. I dealt with it.
yeah.
And I wasn't sweating my rear end off like I would be if I went in August.
True.
um, yeah, I think that's it. I don't know, unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
Well,
The biggest thing is go ahead, John.
you go ahead. Mine's a little different. Go ahead, Kurt.
I was it's not just the crowds, it's the attitude of some of the people. So when you're going this time of year and you don't do any research at all, and then you complain that it's costing too much, and you're complaining about the crowds, and you're complaining about the lines and having to pay extra, and you still can't get out anything even after paying extra. You should have known what you're getting into.
Yep.
And if I'm just going knowing what's going to happen, the last thing I want to do is to hear that as well.
You know, I know there is some people that can only go this time of the year because kids are in school. It's when their vacation comes. Some businesses close down, and that's the time they have to take their vacation. But I would never recommend, unless you're going there to see the decorations and to explore the holiday food. I would not recommend going this time of year because of the crowds. If you
Right.
want to get the most out of the parks, this is not the time of year to go. If you're looking to get the most out of the holiday season in the parks, fine. Um, but yeah, you're right, Kurt. Do your research. I could tell you, going there on when we were in, and I can only go by Magic Kingdom on Tuesday. The parking lot was empty, but the park was packed, which tells me there were a lot of guests on property or who had other means of getting there. And it was a lot of people from different countries. We heard a lot of languages being spoken that day, and not so much English.
Hmm.
And you know what? That's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because there are people coming from other parts of the world to see what we've got here at Walt Disney World, and it's a bad thing because it was crowded. And that's the only bad thing about it. It was crowded. But parking was easy.
The parking was what?
Easy.
Oh,
Like I said, the parking lot was empty.
okay. Well, the other thing I was going to share, and it's not Disney World, it's the time of year. So the holiday season at home can be very busy, and if you're out buying gifts or decorating your house or whatever,
Mhm.
when you go out on a trip at that time of year, you get the enjoyment of being in Walt Disney World during the holidays and seeing all the things that we said that we
Mhm.
like. But then you've got the trade-off of, okay, then when you get home, you're behind, on your, if you do holiday cards or if you're shopping or preparing for the dinner or whatever, there's a trade-off for the time you
Yep.
lose to enjoy the things that are fun.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to something Kurt said about researching. If you're planning on doing that big family get together at Walt Disney World just to be there during Christmas, know what you're getting yourself into. I'm not telling you not to do it, just know what you're getting yourself into.
Mm.
If I was going down for a trip this time of year, it would have to be a second or a third trip. It would have to be one where
Mhm.
I know I'm not going to be going on attractions. I'm going down to just take it all in and not be focused on the attractions.
Yeah.
Which would mean I'd have to be an annual pass holder because I would not want to pay $179 to just walk around a park.
I'll tell you know what, there's a reason I like the park pass that I have for Disney, which is the Pixie Dust. It's the lowest level of the park passes. I can't go on weekends, which I wouldn't want to go anyway because it's much more crowded on the weekend.
Fine.
And there are certain times a year where I'm blocked out. Like right now, I'm okay being blocked out right now because guess what? I wouldn't go now anyway. I wanted to see the decorations in the Magic Kingdom before Christmas. I had seen them before, but we were there for another reason that day. So I wanted to go and just see them again, get on a couple of attractions, which we did, and leave. And that's exactly how my day went. And it was great. I had a great time. But I'm glad I'm blocked out of the parks now. So, it's, if you're coming on vacation here, you've really got to give a lot of thought about when you can come here. There's no better time and no worse time than the holiday season at Walt Disney World. And a lot of it's got to do with the crowds, which we've mentioned several times on the show. And the great thing about it is you're not going to find decorations in another park like you will at Walt Disney World. I did think of something now that is a dislike. There's no Osborne lights anymore in Hollywood
That's one
Studios.
of
They're
my
gone.
biggest. Yep, absolutely.
They're
I
gone.
thought it was mentioned on another podcast somewhere that their lease was actually up in 2015 anyway. And that was part of the reason why they
Yeah, no, I've heard that, but it's a dislike that we don't get them anymore.
Right now, they've
Right.
moved a lot of the lights to give kids the world, where they put on a display during Christmas, which I'm sure is wonderful. But yeah, I would like to see them. They can't, obviously you're not going to be able to recreate what they had in Hollywood
Well, yeah,
studios,
but
but if they
right,
could.
do their own show, with the Christmas
Mhm,
music and, you know, as long as you have a lot of lights and, you've got flashing lights, you got displays, if they've got hidden Mickeys or whatever that they can intersperse with it, they
mhm.
can create something new that still has that same energy.
Yep, they could. It doesn't have to be as big, but you're right. It could recreate that same energy,
Oh, no,
something
I
like
think it
that.
does have to be be as
Well, it would be
big.
great if it were.
Well, and that it's popular,
Mhm.
so it has to be big enough for to hold people so that they're not, squeezing trying to get in.
Yeah.
It has to have a minimum size.
There was a rumor when they first left Hollywood studios that it would come back on Main Street in the Magic Kingdom.
Mm.
That hasn't obviously that hasn't happened.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are plenty of places on property and in the parks and out of the parks where they could do something.
Yeah, it just made me think of a an interesting idea. So, they have on ABC, which is owned by Disney,
Mhm.
they have that holiday light fights or whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they had different sections of a park
Mhm.
or different things in different parks where they had a display with a lot of lights, kind of like somebody does their house and
Mhm.
overdoes their house, but overdo a section of the park or one park versus another or resorts, and then draw people to go to those different places, and they have their own display, music, whatever.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even necessarily have to be all in one place. You could
No, you're right.
distribute
It
it.
wouldn't. Well,
World Showcase.
I was going to say that World
Yeah.
Showcase is perfect. You do each pavilion, and you're related to the
Mm,
country,
mm.
as well.
Yeah, so you don't have to do it all night long necessarily, but do it for 15 minutes of an hour or something
Mhm.
like that. So, go in and out of, so it's not over the top all night
Yep,
long.
I
You
agree.
got me excited now.
Yeah. Now let's hopefully an executive at Disney will get excited
Yeah,
and,
right.
and do that next year.
Yes, or just do.
Could you imagine that on Main Street, USA?
Hmm?
Oh, you know what the crowds would be like there?
It's probably where they're not doing it on Main Street, USA.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
World
yeah,
Showcase is a little more spread out.
yeah, especially when people are trying to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard
But
enough to leave when there's a parade going on.
well, when the fireworks are going on, you're not moving anyways. So at that point,
Well, there's always somebody moving.
5
They
minutes
have
before
the
the fireworks,
sidewalks cleared.
that they do.
Yeah.
That they do.
You know, since moving down here, it takes me about to get to any given park about 20-25 minutes. That's with traffic, with lights, with daily accidents that you have to pray you don't get into. Um, but Magic Kingdom is the one park that I can get to in 20 minutes, and then it takes me another 20 minutes to a half hour to get into the park because you have to park at the transportation center, get on a monorail or a ferry to go over to the park. So can you imagine being stuck on Main Street with all those lights and crowds and then have to get out of there and go to the monorail or the ferry and get back to your car? It would take over an hour just to get there. Not something I would want to see happen. So, but who knows? I don't know if they'll. I don't think the Osborne lights are ever going to come back. But never say never. With Disney, you can never say never.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I just said no, and you said you can never say no.
I said true.
There you go.
Yeah, but the likelihood they're going to come back is slim to none.
Yeah, that's that. But so many people talk about that. So many
Mhm.
people yearn for that. I find it hard to believe that they're not at
Oh,
least thinking about it.
but there's so many people that think about it. What's the percentage of that? So many people. Is it 2% of the fans, or 2% of the avid fans? Is it 98% of the avid fans? or does it include the mainstream fans that, I'm sorry, not the mainstream fans, the families that go there once every few years, once every 5 or 6 years, or once? Yeah.
Well, all I can say is that the people that have been to the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights
Want more.
loved it.
Yep.
And I think all of them would love to see it again.
Yeah. I think if they did something like that anywhere on property, it would be a major hit.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And you know what Disney executives are saying? Well, how can we make money off of it? If we can't, why are we going to do it?
They know how to make money. They've already done, they get the people in the park, they
Right.
sell
Just like the
food to
cake.
them, they sell merchandise to them. They know how to do it.
But that'll bring people into the park. If you bring it back, it will bring the people back.
Mhm.
Or more people back, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath, but I sure wish it would.
Yeah, same here. Anything else you guys want to mention before we wrap this up?
One thing that I had that's, it's not a bad thing, but so there's so much to see at Walt Disney World over the holidays. Like we talked about going out to see the resorts. I dislike not having enough time to do all that I want to do. Whether it's not getting to see all of the resorts, it's difficult to get to all the places where I want to try one of the holiday treats that they have. And this treat is all the way in downtown Disney and I'm not going to make it there this time, or it's spread out across all these different places. So not being able to do all of the things you'd like to, it seems weird to call it a dislike, but it's one of the things that disappoints me when I don't get a chance to do it all.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think part of that is if you're spending time in the parks, you're spending even more time in the parks during the holiday season because of the crowd. So it gives you less time to venture elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that is going to wrap it up for us this week. We will be back next week with another show after Christmas. So I want to wish everybody celebrating Christmas, Kwanzaa, Festivus for the rest of us.
Bring your feet to
happy
strength.
Yeah.
And air your grievances.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you have your Festivus poll to put up yet?
Not yet.
Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. We will be back next week with another show. So until then, be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays. Good night, everybody.
Well, not everybody heard this at the beginning, but Jess was talking about this. So she planted the seed with me early on. So so what I have to share is sing with me now. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, my oh my, look at the boy too shy, ain't gonna kiss the girl. So whomever it is going to be for this holiday season, find somebody you love, give them a kiss, and give us the benefit of coming back next week. Look forward to see you then. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all the like. Good night.